To scoot or not to scoot? For that is the question. That's not a question. You should always scoot, always scooter, always scooter. Do you need a scooter like the DiveX BlackTip? Find out. All right. Welcome back to Dive Vibe. My name is Zach. I am a technical rebreather instructor and a former Army medic / CLS instructor. And today we're here to talk about scooters, and not just any scooter, specifically the DiveX BlackTip. I have the DiveX BlackTip Tech model here. Okay, so I've been meaning to make a video about this thing for a while, and I've been asked a few times now to make the video. It's actually my #1 most requested video. Do you need a scooter? Yes, that is the answer. You need a scooter. Should you get the DiveX BlackTip? Well, that depends. You might be asking yourself, what's so special about this scooter? There's so many scooters out there. Well, the #1 thing that makes this scooter special is the price. There's lots of expensive scooters out there ranging anywhere from like $5,000 up to $10,000 and even more. And those are all great scooters. But the thing that makes this one special is how economical it is. When it first came out, I think it was $1,500. It's gone up to $1,750. And after you add in the batteries, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,200 for a fully kitted out scooter that's ready to go. So that piqued my interest. I was pretty excited and I decided to give it a try. So when this scooter was released, they announced it and then they opened up pre-orders, and I pre-ordered this. So I was one of the first people to get it, and so far my experience has been really positive. It takes these DeWalt power tool batteries that are super convenient. They're pretty easy to find. You could actually go to wherever you're diving and buy some if you wanted to, but you can fly with these. There's a red cap that they come with that you need to make sure that you have on the battery when you fly with it. Otherwise, it's not authorized. It's something about splitting up the cells and putting it into a range that the airline considers okay for flying. So make sure you hold on to those red caps when you get these. They can take 2 different types of batteries. I'm sure you can fit other ones in there, but the ones they officially endorse are the DeWalt 9 amp hour batteries and the 12 amp hour batteries. These 12 amp hour batteries have been great. I'm not gonna quote run times or anything like that. I'll put a link in the description to DiveX's website so you can see all the run times and all that good stuff. One thing that was a bit of a question for me when I saw it, they say, you know, it lasts so long, like a couple of hours at cruising speed. And I was like, well, what is cruising speed? There's 7 different speeds, 1 through 7. The thing starts off at 3, you first start scootering. And I think that's a comfortable cruising speed, and I'm pretty sure that's what they meant by cruising speed. So you can get a couple hours then. You can go faster. You can bump it up all the way to 7. At 7, you've only got like 8 minutes of runtime, and it starts to slow you back down. But to be totally honest, 7 is extremely fast and not all that super comfortable to be scootering at, especially when you've got a big old BOV on your rebreather hanging out of your mouth, giving you a little drag on your teeth. So I probably wouldn't want to scooter around at 7 for more than a few minutes anyway. So that's totally fine with me. Now, one thing to talk about this is, how did they make it so much cheaper? Is it slower? Is the battery life a lot worse? Well, it might be a little bit slower, but to be totally honest, I've used a Piranha and a couple other scooters, and this one is plenty for my needs. I dive this thing with multiple stages and a rebreather, and it pulls me just fine. It's rated down to 400 feet, which is great. I'm probably not gonna ever need to take it deeper than 400 feet. And the battery life is plenty long for me to get into all sorts of trouble. So where did they save the money? Well, I'm pretty sure they refined the manufacturing process a little bit. It's also made out of less expensive, more economical materials. That's not to mean that it's weak. If you do any research on this, you'll find out that when the DiveX came out, there was an issue with the handles snapping off, some of them. Mine was one of those. My handle snapped off in the middle of a dive, which I wasn't super happy about at the time. However, I was still able to use the scooter. I just grabbed the parts and stowed them in my pocket and was able to hold onto the scooter kind of like this. And it was just fine. It was no problem at all. So while it was a little bit inconvenient and definitely a little annoying to have my brand new scooter break on me in the middle of a dive, they did send me a new one free of charge, and I was barely inconvenienced. I actually, even before it came in the mail, I took this thing out and did a scooter dive with the handle off of it. Nothing extreme, just a quick little recreational dive. But since then, they claim that they have fixed the problem with the handle, and I haven't had any problems with mine, so I'm happy with it. Although, if anyone out there wants to machine one of these out of aluminum, I think that would be a great aftermarket purchase that I would be willing to spend a significant amount of money on. It would just be really nice to have that peace of mind. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the handle. It's not a big deal. In addition to that, there's also some people out there 3D printing T-handles for these things. So you can switch hands easier if you need to use your right hand for something while you're scootering. And I'm pretty sure that the T-handle adapter being butted right up against the handle on this thing actually does something to strengthen it, especially since it's being clamped in place by the mountain biking grips. This one was 3D printed by a guy named Shane. He does a great job, and he also printed some stuff for my Sidewinder. He hooked me up with some caps that keep my scrubber sealed when I'm not using it, and I really like them. The top one even has an O-ring seal, which you can see right there. Okay, so it's cheap, and they've cut some corners a little bit to make it more economical to produce and make it more affordable for their customers, which is great. So far, it's been really good. I've had it for over a year now. I've put a lot of dives on it. Pretty much, I don't get in the water without it. I love this thing so much. It's really opened up my diving. Now, that being said, the one thing that really scares me about these scooters is that they're so inexpensive now. It's a lot more likely that these are gonna end up in the hands of someone who's not trained to use one. And it's really important that you get training with these because there's a whole new way to share air if you need to. There's all kinds of considerations. You need to factor in your scooter into your run times and make sure that you've got enough battery to do what you need to do. And if your scooter dies, you need to either be somewhere where you can feasibly swim back, or you need to have a backup scooter. So with a scooter at this price, is this the scooter for everybody? Probably not. If you're the type of person that's exploring caves and grinding your scooter against rocks and stuff as you try to squeeze back as far as you can into some unexplored cave, then this is probably not the scooter for you. You probably need something with a good bit more metal on it. If you're doing crazy wreck dives or anything else where like extreme reliability is a necessity, then this probably isn't the scooter for you. Or if you just have $6,000 to spend on a scooter and you want the best experience, then you're probably gonna wanna buy something a little different. You might look at a Piranha or something from Subgravity or something like that. But if you don't have that kind of money and you can swing about 2,200 bucks, then this is seriously gonna open up your diving. However, I would highly recommend that you find someone else that's going to purchase one of these that you can dive with often, because you really wanna be diving with a buddy that also has a scooter, so in case there's a problem, they can tow you back. If you're not diving with a buddy that has a scooter, it's a bit of a one-sided dive. Just doing donuts around your friend while they try to take pictures of a frogfish. So, would I recommend the DiveX BlackTip? Yeah, I'd say so. This thing has opened up my diving in a big way. I can get to all kinds of dive sites that I couldn't access before without a boat. My diving has been opened up to the point where I don't necessarily pick an entry point because the dive site is nice. I might pick an entry point because it's easy and I can scooter to a dive site that's nice. So I've been able to see a lot of things that I wouldn't normally be able to see with just my rebreather, because now I can move faster and stay down longer and access all kinds of different dive sites. And like I said before, that does mean that you need to be more careful now, and I highly suggest that you take a scooter course if you're gonna be getting into one of these things. I can't emphasize this enough. You can seriously get yourself into trouble with one of these, especially with ascent rates and stuff like that. You do not want to be using this thing to go up in the water column, otherwise you are going to get hurt. Of course, you should, if you're watching this video, you probably already know that. If you're a certified diver, you definitely know that you need to watch your ascent rate. But At this price point, yeah, I have to recommend this thing. I'm head over heels in love with it. It is my favorite dive toy right now. So if you're looking, stop hesitating, just pick one up. It's fantastic. I give it 5 out of 5 jet fins. All right, well, I hope you got something out of that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to feed the algorithm. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a beer on Patreon or check out my t-shirts. Either way, both links are in the description. Don't want anybody missing where you can buy me a beer. That's important. Thank you so much for diving with me today, and I'll see you in the water. Hey.